G'day and welcome to the Garage Filmmaking Revolution. My name is Brother Bruce and I am honoured to have on our show today Mr. Andrew Vial, who is a veteran Australian actor. Thank you very much, Andrew, for coming on the show.
Thank you, and I'm honoured to be on it. I mean, really, I know a lot about your work.
Tell me, Andrew, how did you get into acting?
The very first thing I acted in, I was just pulled out of a crowd of people that were watching the filming of a film called On the Beach, which was in Melbourne back in the 1950s. I was a little kid watching the Hollywood crowd, sort of fantasising, oh, wouldn't it be amazing to be in that? And they came over and said, come over here, kid, can you just walk through there? Oh, yeah, of course I can do that. So I walked through. But after that, I started my first film I made in 1968 as a director. 1968 as a director, and it was a short film about 12 minutes long, and it was very successful. It was showed in all the cinemas and Fantastic. Kept on showing for years, and I got paid for it each time it was screened. So I thought, I can make money out of this, I can do this. But it didn't happen that way because the whole scene changed. They stopped showing short films in cinemas.
Right.
By that time I'd made about 3 more, and I'd spent a lot of money, and so I got completely wiped out. But then I just kept on doing stuff. I've been doing it ever since. It's a wonderful life, and I've travelled a lot overseas because what was happening in Australia wasn't necessarily what was going on in other countries. So at first I used to go to places like England, and I could show my films there at London Film Festival and all the rest. And even though they didn't pay me for the screenings, it was very good publicity because they wanted me on TV stations and things. I think the scene in Sydney at the moment is as good as it's ever been. There's a chance for anyone to start off and make a film.
So you started off as an extra, accidentally?
Yes, accidentally.
And you've been in the film industry since then, until today, this year, 2019?
Yeah. I was trained as a scientist. I did the whole course in science degree. So I did all that because that was reality for me. And it got me a very good job where I got paid very well.
And you did work as a scientist?
Yeah, I worked as a scientist. But all the time I just thought, I really want to be an artist.
Right.
It's a much better life than being in a white coat in a laboratory all day, just tipping things and watching things. And
sure.
It was just the money. There was no money to be made out of being an artist. But we still keep trying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why we do things like Garage Filmmaking Revolution and make films in our own backyard and Kino.
Yes.
Have you had to work any other jobs alongside with your acting?
I trade on the share market.
Okay.
That's a skill that requires years of practice, and yes, I can do that. It's not easy though. I mean, nothing's easy. Also, as you get old, like I've been doing it for so many years, there's so many very, very clever younger people that are much more fluent in what they can do. And I try and support them, and I work with them. I like working with them. You're one of them.
I'm hardly anything. I don't do much. Just muck around.
Well, it's not muck around because one day someone will say, well, look, we want you to record something with us,
It's a pursuit worth pursuing.
Yes, yes. I've made a lot of films. As a film director, I've made about 40 films or 50 films.
Wow. So you're a director as well?
I was always a director.
And a producer?
Yeah, I started out as a director-producer. That first film in 1968 I was director-producer, and I hired a guy to do the camera work and the editing and stuff. From that I learnt how I could do all of it myself. I did everything.
Sure.
But this was all on 16mm or 35mm film. And it was...
Not digital? Not digital.
No.
Pre-digital age.
Absolutely pre-digital. When did digital come in? It was only 10, 15 years ago.
80s.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about, the 70s.
70s.
Yeah.
Which is much more manual and...
Yeah. A lot of people couldn't make the transition from film-based to file-based films, and I'm probably one of those that's not made the transition very well because I rely on other people's technicalities to get me through the latest technology.
Sure.
But I'm keeping up with it as much as I can. And as far as the acting goes, I can still do the acting.
Great. What's this banana boat?
Banana Boat.
Is
yeah.
it?
This is...
What's Banana Boat all about?
Right. It's a short film that I
show
made
the audiences.
about slavery. When I was at school, we learnt to sing the song Banana Boat, which copied Harry Belafonte. And I always thought that he owned that song, but he didn't own it. It was just an old folk song. And so I put images to all of the singing and used the Harry Belafonte version of the music, but I got myself and someone else to sing it. We sang it badly because we're not... Well, she's a good singer, but I'm not. And we sang it, and but most of it is just very, very fast images changing with the music. But I am not supposed to show it anywhere because people dispute the copyright of that song.
Okay.
Even though I've researched it and I know that it doesn't belong to anyone, it's a folk song. But they sent me a legal thing saying not to show it anywhere, in fact to destroy it.
Wow.
Well, you know what Americans are like.
Yes. Yes.
And they can really put pressure on you, yeah. When I made it, I thought, you know, it's the sort of film that people should see in their schools. While they're learning how to sing the song, actually learn what it's about.
What else have you got?
I've got all sorts of short films that I've done. And on the back there's a whole lot more.
Oh, there's Sky Rage. We watched that at Kino. That was made
and
by
Sky Rage
Olivier.
is up for an award this next 2 weeks. Ronald McDonald. But that hasn't been finished, even though it's sort of half finished. A lot of effort went into it. An awful lot of people were involved in it.
It's a shame, isn't it, to think that...
Yeah, people that don't finish films, you don't want to work with them again the second time.
Yeah. It seems like a waste of everybody's time.
It's a waste of everyone's
and resources.
time and resources and their creative energy and everything else. So you learn which people to work with, and there's a couple of people that I want to work with. They're people I have worked with before. You're one of them. Forrest Lynn is another one, this young guy who's making a lot of films and doing them very, very well.
Forrest Lynn, we just watched this film in Kino the other night. It was great, wasn't it? A music video.
Yes. So people like that are going to go a long way, and I want to be involved with them, similar to what I'm doing with you on this thing that we've just been doing.
And what have we been doing? I know that in your spare time you are a poet as well.
Yeah, I've always done poetry. It's a very cheap way of becoming an artist. You don't need to have a camera. You don't need to spend money on equipment. All you need is a pencil, really, and you're an artist, a poet, because you write down your thoughts. And if you put them together in a way that people like, you can then get up and perform them to big crowds or even small crowds. But you're creating a life for yourself, which is artistic and is not expensive. So I've always done that as a corollary, I suppose, to filmmaking. When I couldn't get the money to make the films, I could go out and write poetry and perform it. And just what we've been doing is adding some music onto some of the poem, onto a particular poem, to see how that can work and whether we can actually make it into a musical piece that is succinct enough and interesting enough for people to actually listen to and watch, because eventually it can be photographed, filmed as well. So you can take it through all the stages and you've got a film from a poem. And that is not a bad outcome, because the very first film I made that was very successful, I promoted it as a film poem about a particular athletic activity, which was pole vaulting.
Right.
And I was a pole vaulter at the time. So we made this film about very, very good pole vaulters called Catapult, and it was the film that was shown in cinemas for years.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine you could write a poem about pole vaulting. and have
Well,
it
it
a
was a
successful
visual
film.
poem show,
Okay,
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
great, Andrew, to hear about your experiences through the past half a century.
Yep, 50 years, that's right. 68 to 2018 is 50 years exactly.